I'm going to give you a dose of the cold, hard truth, bro. A dose of the cold, hard truth. Manchester United sucks ass and has for years. And anybody that pretends it is one of the 3 or 4 biggest clubs in the world is wrong. Now, I know. I don't actually hate Manchester United. They've just been bad the whole time that I've been making these sorts of videos. And so when we're making these sorts of videos, we are often talking about Manchester United. Believe it or not, I used to have quite an affinity for Manchester United because they had a lot of my favorite players. Whether it be Ronaldo, whether it be Wayne Rooney, right? Those were people that I absolutely loved to watch and adored. But this team is so far away from that they can't even see the top of that mountain anymore. And basically, this is prompted by them drawing FC Twente yesterday. If you missed that in the Europa League, Manchester United managed to draw a team from the Netherlands that Erik ten Hag's Ajax team would have dump trucked every day and twice on Sunday. And this all comes back for me specifically to one decision that Manchester United has made. And I'm not saying that Manchester United would have been able to turn things around completely if this decision had gone the other way in just a couple of months. I'm just saying that there is a large enough sample size to understand that this is not working out, right? Because Erik ten Hag should have been fired at the end of last season. He wasn't because he squeaked out the FA Cup, which is great. Winning trophies is the whole point of the sport, and it was awesome that he was able to win it. But before going into that match with Sir Jim Ratcliffe having come in at Manchester United, it was stated, basically win or lose, that Erik ten Hag was going to leave. Because, I don't know, the team was coming off its worst league finish under ten Hag, and he'd been there going on 3 years. So it was not the best season, and it made complete sense that even though they'd managed to backdoor an FA Cup final, that win or lose, they were going to get a clean slate moving forward. And that's fine. I feel like Erik ten Hag also needs a clean slate. I feel like he also needs a clean slate because he is obviously not a terrible manager. And in the right circumstance, with the right people around him, he can lead a team like Ajax to really great things. And if you think Ajax is automatic, just look what's happened to them since he left. It's been anything but automatic. But him at Manchester United is not working. And I'll be honest. First time I've said I'll be honest in this video. You should never make a managerial decision based off of one game. Not at the club level. At the international level, that's kind of the only thing you have to go off of. But if you are making a managerial decision at club level based off one match, you are not using all of the available information. Because Erik ten Hag was able to win that game against Man City. He was then able to go on a press tour. The fans fell in love with him, and they felt like they couldn't fire him. They waited a few weeks. It didn't die down enough, and they rehired him. And now they are living with the consequences of that decision because Erik ten Hag has been able to sign a lot of the players that he wanted, and they're not good enough. It doesn't work. The team isn't clicking. The core is rotten. Pick whatever thing that you want, but it obviously is not working. If you remember things being bad under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they weren't anywhere near this bad, right? You have to create relativity here to understand that even though Manchester United has not been great, they were still capable of being a lot better than this before Erik ten Hag ended up at, leading the charge here. And to draw at home against FC Twente, which, look, I've got nothing against FC Twente. But to draw at home against FC Twente, starting a dang good team, right? We've got Mazraoui, Maguire, Martinez, Dalot, Ugarte, Eriksson, Diallo, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Xerxes. That is a great team, full of players that Erik ten Hag himself has gone out and signed or has endorsed as members of his team. And they could not win. And not only, perhaps way more damning than not being able to win, is they did not utterly dominate this match. The XG was 0.72 to 1.49. Possession 55%, right? This was not FC Twente scoring a corner in the 90th minute that, after Manchester United scuffed a penalty in 4 obvious chances. It was a tight game that Manchester United probably should have won, but you can't look at it and say that FC Twente was, pulling off a robbery in the theater of dreams here, that they didn't deserve at least a point for the way that they were able to come in and play on the road. Now, I realize the irony of me saying that Ten Hag shouldn't have been kept because of one game, but should be condemned because of this one defeat. But I raise you the fact that Manchester United is now currently sitting in 11th in the Premier League. Now, obviously, we are just 5 matches into the season, but Manchester United has only won 2 of its 5 matches. 2 of its 5 matches. And that is not an exception. That's not a slow start. I mean, it is a slow start, but you're looking at a team and a manager that, look, I know there were injuries. Are you telling me there weren't injuries for all of these seasons? Because you have to go all the way back to 1990 to find the last time Manchester United finished outside of the top 7. It finished 8th last year. And I'll be honest, if you were watching all of last season, Manchester United kind of backdoored 8th place, right? Their goal difference did not indicate that they should be in 8th place in the table, which means Erik ten Hag, in some ways, executed a particularly brilliant managerial job squeezing as many points as he did out of last season. But it is also indicative of the fact that this team is trending in the wrong direction under Erik ten Hag, that this team was not building itself up for the future or building itself up for further success. And you can't say that you were surprised after the team put forth an effort last season like that, got grouped in the Champions League, that team didn't even finish 3rd in their Champions League group, finished 4th. So they didn't even get to go to the Europa League and just didn't have Europe, right? They did not have European play after December. Okay, and they still were not able to get the types of results with a lot less matches to play than everybody else. It's crazy. It's crazy he's still the coach. It makes no sense. It was literally a PAR campaign and the fans loving him for a couple of weeks after the FA Cup win. But this is it. This is who Erik ten Hag's Manchester United is. He's won like 2, I can't remember what the stat was, like maybe 1 or 2 of 8 matches in Europe. I shouldn't even be quoting the stat. I can't remember what it is, but it's bad. I think it might have just been home European matches or something, which again, the FC Twente match was at home. But at a certain point, there's no more building. I mean, they've spent a lot of money on this team. A lot. Erik ten Hag spent a lot of money building this team. Now, there are still some contracts that he's stuck with. Harry Maguire is somebody that stands out as a contract that he's stuck with. But a lot of these guys he brought in, and a lot of these guys he's endorsed to be able to do this job. And for whatever reason, despite the fact that some of those players, particularly like, Bruno, Xerxes, these guys are talented. I mean, Bruno's way more talented than Xerxes. I'm not trying to draw an equivalence there, but they have talent on this team. And Ten Hag is capable of being a winning manager. But it is possible to fire somebody without having to say that they're terrible. And it's not working. Because Manchester United is still bad. Right? Remember, this is a team with the level of spend and the level of culture that expects to compete for Premier League titles. Now, how fucking far away are they from that? Eons. Light years. They're not getting closer, right? I mean, Tottenham is down next to them in the Premier League, and that's like a 5-alarm fire going on for Tottenham right now because they expected to be kind of so much higher than this, and they're only down on 7 points with Manchester United. But even then, they've got 4 more on the goal difference, right? And we know what issues Manchester United had creating separation last year because their goal difference was negative basically the entire season. Right? It's crazy that Manchester United has fallen to this point, and I feel like Manchester United as a club has become a little more comfortable with accepting this kind of mediocrity. This is Manchester United. Man U. The team that would win the Premier League almost every season. What the hell happened? And whatever happened, Erik ten Hag is very clearly not going to be the guy that's able to figure out how to fix it. Because, they are who we thought they were. At a certain point, you just know what you're going to get out of this situation. And unless you feel comfortable giving Erik ten Hag a few more $100 million to try and remake this team a second time, which again, he has done almost nothing to indicate that would be a good idea outside of winning the FA Cup, which again, you can't take that trophy away. But Manchester United's goal is to not win the FA Cup as an underdog. It is to be a dominant force on the level of what now Manchester City is, what Bayern is, what Real Madrid is. That is what Manchester United's goal is. And Erik ten Hag just has shown no signs of being able to guide the team in that direction. So I'm honestly confused. I don't know how long Erik ten Hag's got left. But what I know is Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the board had made basically the right decision, and then they backed off on it, which is probably not a great, sign of things moving forward. But we're all going to get a front row seat with some popcorn to see how this plays out. And maybe I'll end up eating some crow, and all of a sudden the team will just click and get going, and everything will be moving in the right direction. But it is getting less and less likely by the day, it feels like.